Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to Card Making Project 621 using our gorgeous Christmas Anna Griffin goodies. Today we're going to make a stunning Christmas card and I think, as always, something a little bit different. I'd like to run through the items that we're going to use. They're going to be listed on my blog, plus lots of other photos, so please check it out. There's so many projects on there, lots to keep you amused and lots to keep you entertained. So check it out and see what you think. So the first item that we're going to use is the Anna Griffin Christmas Wrap rubber stamps. Now these are from a few years ago. However, you know, rubber stamps are always useful. We're going to be using this particular stamp here. It says Merry Christmas. If you don't have it, you could always substitute it with something else that you might have in your stash. Or any of the Anna Griffin sentiment stickers for Christmas. They would work just as well. So we're also going to use our elegant ornate easel die set. But we're not going to make an easel card. We're going to be using the ornate layer from the easel die set and the shadow layer. So we're just going to use it as not a frame but a background and, you know, an enhancer to our card. Now the base card that we're going to start with is a plain 7x5" card in ivory, and I'm just going to use my bone folder from the Anna Griffin tool collection to make sure I've got a nice sharp crease along the edge. So I've already used my Anna Griffin handmade by stamp on the back. I've added my name. I always add the tutorial number just to keep me in line to let me know what card and what number that was. So we're going to start off by creating the insert. Now I think this insert is very different to what we normally do. So, but it's going to be equally as beautiful. Our first layer is some Christmas cardstock from Anna Griffin. Now, I can't remember the actual name of the collection, but it's Christmas cardstock, and I think basically you could use any Christmas cardstock for this card. It would still work. I've trimmed it down to 4.8 by 6.8 inches. So it gives a nice border around the edge. I've got flat double-sided tape on the back, and I'm just peeling the back of the tape away. And I'm going to position this into the inside of our card, like so. There we go, press it down so you can see how it gives that nice edge around the side. Our next layer is again from Anna Griffin cardstock, and I've trimmed it down and cut out and followed the shape on the cardstock. So it started off as a 7x5 layer, and I've trimmed the edges to just give it some shape following the pattern. I've got double-sided flat tape on the back, and I'm simply peeling the back of it away, and then I'm going to just add this to the inside of our card, butting up to the edge of the crease and to the top and bottom of the card. There we go, and lay that flat. So the cardstock underneath just pokes through from the cardstock on top. I could have been really frugal with it and saved the middle, but I didn't in this instant. So please don't message me and say, oh, you're so wasteful, because yes, I have been on this, but I could have been frugal and I wasn't. Our next layer is where I've die cut the ornate layer from the actual ornate easel card die. I've just die cut it in ivory cardstock, and I've got double-sided tape on the back. So I'm just going to position this over the top of our previous layer, and I'm going to get it nice and central so that you can see the pattern on the cardstock underneath and the way that it's being cut, and that will just sit nicely over the top. Next, I've used the rubber stamp from the collection of the tags because I fibbed. I said we were using this one, but we're actually using the holiday greetings one as well. So we're using 2 stamps. That's my mistake. So I've double stamped it. So I've stamped it in green first. I made a quick template, well not template, a stencil, a mask, sorry that's the word I'm looking for. Placed it over the top and then stamped it again in a different colour and then just cut it out. Quite simple. And if you check back for masks I did 31 projects in 31 days a couple of years ago, the tricks and techniques. Masking was one of those techniques, and there's lots on rubber stamping as well because I know I get questions about that. So check those out. I'll put links in the blog about those, and that might help. So, you know, check those out. It was a great series. So I've double stamped the tag. I've got flat tape on the back, and I am simply going to add this just underneath a section of the easel card. I'm just trying to decide the easel card, the easel die. I think we'll take it about there. So it'll just sit in slightly underneath and slightly on top. There we go. So you see how I've just slid it underneath and it looks like it's still on top though. And that is our insert. So it's very different because we've used the cutting technique for one of the layers and we've still used the die cuts to make it look very pretty and very different. So now we're going to go back to the front of our card. I'm just going to use my bone folder to make sure I've still got a nice sharp crease. And I'm going to start off with the cardstock layer. Now this is a full layer, it's 7 by 5 inches, and this is in the cardstock pack. You've got the 12 by 12 cardstock and the 7 by 5s. So I haven't had to cut this down, and I can just add this to the front of my card, hoping I've got that nice and straight, like so. Our next layer is exactly the same as what we did for the inside. We've cut away following the pattern, but in this instance I've got 3D foam on the back, and I can add this over the top of our base card, press it down. Our next layer is the shadow layer from the ornate easel card, and I've used the matte cardstock in it's the satin cardstock in green. I've just got flat tape on the back so I can peel the tape away and position this through the centre so you don't see all of the previous layer, but you know it's there. It just stands out so well. It's just so pretty and very different to see the pattern where we've cut that out. Next we've got the ornate layer from the easel card die, again on 3D foam, so we can add this over the previous layer. Now we can pattern match here. This is how this card started off actually. I was going to do the pattern match layers that we've done previously, and then I added the extra layers, and then I added the cutout layer, and I thought we can still match the pattern from the base layer, so it should just all follow on where we've positioned it. So it's looking pretty already. Those layers and the contrasting layers look great. So next I've taken from the Christmas vintage decoupage die cuts a set of bells, and instead of having 3D foam on the back, I've got flat tape through the centre, and I'm just going to position it through the centre of our ornate easel die. Next, I've got the first layer of the bells from the vintage decoupage die cuts. I've got 3D foam on the back, and for anybody that's never created the decoupage before, each of the layers have numbers on, so you can follow the numbers to build up the decoupage. So I'm just going to simply position this over the previous layer, like so, and then the next layer, again on 3D foam, I am simply going to position over, like so, press it down. I've rubber stamped the Merry Christmas sign. Now where it's actually straight on the set, it's a straight rubber stamp, I've actually slightly curved it on my acrylic block so that it just gives it a little bit of shape. I've got 3D foam on the back of it, and I am simply going to position this through the centre of my card, like so. There we go. And then I've got one small silver bow, and I'm just going to position that at the side of our Merry Christmas on the actual card front. And that is our card finished. Nice and festive, traditional, with a flare of difference, with our layer cut out, and it's just very different. Love the colours, very traditional colouring, traditional with the bells. The inside matches perfectly. You can see that when we open it, we've got the same pattern. I think that just looks so cool. Gorgeous card, stands up nicely, definitely going to go on a mantelpiece. I don't think you're going to need a special envelope. It's going to depend on the size of foam pads. Mine are quite thick. I've put a double layer on the side of my sentiment. You don't have to, but mine's just to make it stand out more. So it's just such a gorgeous card. Great elements that we've used from our Anna Griffin range of all our supplies for Christmas. And it's just something a little bit different. I remember making a card, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, using the vintage die cut bells. And I used the sentiments at the side of it. And that just reminds me of this card. Even though it's the same embellishments, it reminds me of that, but the two completely separate cards. So it shows how you can, well, of course, the two separate cards, but it just shows the difference in cards. That's what I'm trying to say. The two very different cards. So using the same embellishments, you can always make something very different from something else. If you don't have these embellishments, look for what you do have. You know, substitute it, use something different. If you don't have the cardstock, use something that you do have. Maybe you've got some embossing folders, you could use an embossed layer. It's about giving you the ideas and setting you on your creative path and holding your hand and just helping you through. Some people might have a mental block, some people might never have crafted before, some people might have too much stuff, you might have too little. Everybody has a different reason, and at some point they just need that helping hand, and I hope my videos do that. So I would just like to say, check the blog and give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. If it's given you any ideas or inspiration, please give me the thumbs up. Let me know what you think. You can always find me on Facebook, and I love hearing from you. So I would just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.